Palladia, a fantasy VR game popular worldwide for its high degree of freedom and personalized class building. Here there are dragons and titans, and even bloodthirsty monsters emerging from the shadows to bring slaughter, while the dragon continuously spits fire in the sky. Stand tall watching as it continues to rampage. I, as a top player of this game, know everything here like the back of my hand. Today's task is to slay this adult red dragon and obtain the highest reward. As I got near, it noticed me and turned its head. You beast, in the name of the great Titan God, I'll send you to hell. It released dragon flames in my direction. I endured the flames and kept pushing. It felt pain since I was able to thrust my spear on its back. It swung its wings and smashed into me, launching me straight into the air. Then gravity took over. I came crashing back down to the ground like a rocket. Is it still not working? Looks like I failed again. I can only log out of the game. What's going on? Why can't I log out? The dragon kept charging straight at me while I was desperately trying to log out. Don't tell me there's a system error now. All I could do was scream and keep smashing the log out button as the dragon's open mouth got closer and closer. Good thing I managed to log out just before the dragon's claws smashed into me. Back in the real world, people were talking about the scene they just saw on the big screen. Someone bravely challenging the red dragon. My feet touched solid ground again. I was back in the real world. I was still panting hard. It was only a VR world, but the tension felt completely real. Next time, I will definitely slay you, you beast. Just you wait. I decided to just go home and rest for the rest of the day. While crossing the street, I didn't check my surroundings and didn't notice the car speeding toward me. I was surprised to hear a loud horn. When I looked up, it was already too late. Am I dead? Why is this monotonous electronic voice appearing again? Can the game company not afford a female voice actress? This place is the Northern Icefields. Didn't I already log out? Why am I still in Palladia? Then out of nowhere I felt pain in my head. Memories started flooding back. The village, the kids struggling, and fights against dragons. My head hurts so much. These memories. What's going on? Who is Alvin Arian? A mysterious tribal youth living in seclusion in the Northern Icefields. This name sounds so familiar. Isn't he a quest NPC in the game? Have I become an NPC in the game? I shouted and called up the system interface. Still can't log out. And are there NPC stats for real? Most Tier 1 practitioners' average stats stay around 12. Hidden classes aside, normally such stats can only be reached after entering Tier 2. A common youth from a hidden tribe could never possess such values. Just what kind of pay-to-win template is this? Core? Reshaping the world? What kind of heaven-defying attribute is this again? A core means the character holding this talent has the potential to develop into a team's main carry. It's definitely an SSR grade rare trait. I previously obtained a talent with the same prefix briefly through a challenge quest, but this, reshaping the world, it means that whether changing to a magic-based or physical-based class, this talent will be cultivated as the core talent. Descendant of the Star Forger. No wonder the name sounded so familiar. This isn't some ordinary northern barbarian NPC at all, but the final boss of the level 50 raid after the 4th version update. Flesh is weak, steel is eternal, reshaper of the world, star-forging titan, Alvin Arian. The existence jokingly called the Blackened Brave King by players. So am I that star-forging titan now? Like hell I am. Right now I'm just an injured barbarian kid lost on the ice fields. Whether it's the rise of nations, the chaos of 1,000 towers, the skeletal tide, the alchemic ascension, or those few major version events like the Calamity Scion, every one of these major events is a near-death experience. In this turbulent world, only the strong enough can survive. I can't stay like this. I want to live. I absolutely cannot die in the game like this. It's already mid-December, which means the extreme weather the northern people call the white tide is coming. I must survive on these ice fields first. I didn't get very far before I collapsed on the snow. The cold and the heavy blood loss had finally caught up with me. Fate has let me reincarnate as a boss destined to be defeated, but I'm not a boy who listens to fate's arrangements. I will survive on these ice fields, and then go rewrite the arrangements of fate. Bloodline purification is the key to becoming the strongest titan. This place is dozens of kilometers away from the tribe. Even approaching the border of the ice fields, there is still a gap of hundreds of kilometers to the nearest country, the Northern Magic Kingdom Elrond. The good news is I remember there should be a hunter's cabin in the surrounding woods. There should be firewood and food supplies for the winter there. First, avoid the time when the white tide is at its fiercest. Then follow the trade route to find a reliable caravan to hitch a ride to the Central Empire, Linda. Exactly. According to the game's plot progression, Linda is the birthplace of many major events. As long as I get there, I can enter the main storyline, and there lies the class route I was most familiar with in the past life, Alchemic Knight, an emerging class born after the magic alchemic revolution, capable of forging the sturdiest armor. There's movement. Has someone come over? Still feeling the pain, I rushed towards the nearest bush to find cover. I dropped down and pressed myself against the cold snow to hide. Someone is approaching on horseback. This place is dozens of kilometers away from the tribe. Even approaching the border of the ice fields, couldn't possibly come here. Beyond the fog, I could see multiple silhouettes. At the front is a young rider, being attacked from behind. Behind him, 3 riders aimed their crossbows at the young rider. Dodging the arrows, she glanced back and shot a sharp glare at her pursuers. As he watched the scene unfold, he noticed something peculiar. Those black warhorses are strange. While running at high speed, no white mist appeared near their muzzles as it should in winter. Only the undead mounts favored by the nobles of Elrond would make no sound even while running at high speed. As the chase drew nearer, he finally noticed the young rider. This is the Empress of the Magic Kingdom Elrond, Fredia Guthsmith. It looks like she hasn't ascended the throne yet. Her current status is still just the eldest princess, so the current time is before New Era 1886. The world is still in an age of swords and magic, akin to the Middle Ages. From my experience as a veteran player, the strength of these 3 pursuers will not exceed Tier 2. Since that's the case, there is only one answer. I hid my entire body beneath a pile of snow, waiting quietly for the perfect moment to strike. Should we capture her alive? No need. After hearing the confirmation, they took aim at the princess, this time with the clear intent to kill. The opportunity came at the right moment. I reached out my hand, grabbing one of the horse's back leg. This action surprised both the horse and the rider, making them wonder what was happening. I forced myself free, causing both the rider and the horse to lose their balance and fall. I was able to do this because I activated the Berserk skill, which gave me a +4 boost in strength. The rider finally noticed me and shouted to his comrades that someone is here. You guys actually hit the riding bird. He was surprised by my quick movement and stabbed his chest. I grabbed his cloak and revealed his identity. As expected, it's those bat scumbags from Elrond. The leader of the group turned his horse back and fired multiple arrows. I lifted the man high and used him as a human shield and blocked the incoming projectiles. The damage-taking capacity of the blood race is indeed formidable. Even at the low tier, they won't die immediately from internal organ injuries. The other rider managed to strike the bird from behind, causing both the rider and the bird to fall. The leader ordered his remaining subordinate to finish off the princess, while he dealt with the troublesome man. As the leader moved his horse slowly toward me, he searched for the right angle to strike. Since I was using his subordinate as a shield, I made the first move by throwing his subordinate toward him. This caught him off guard, and he didn't have time to react or avoid it. He fell off his horse and tried to push the subordinate off him. Checking the system information, I found out that the leader is a Tier 2 blood drinker and 2 embraced ones. I took the opportunity and rushed forward, prepared to deliver the final blow. The leader used a skill called Blood Race's Rapier, which allowed him to burst forward with great speed. I used my left hand to block the thrusting sword and change its direction. That was actually a bit dangerous. Let's see how you draw your sword now, I asked while gripping it firmly. It's my turn. Only now did he notice the incoming fist. I gave him a good smacking to the face with full force, making his head turn like an owl. Good thing the endurance in the berserk state is several times stronger than usual. Otherwise, with 100% pain sensation, it would be truly unbearable. I thought as I removed the stuck knife from my hand. Are the current nobles of the Magic Kingdom also this lacking in real combat experience? Throwing the sword while moving towards the princess. Stranger, do not underestimate Elrond nobles, she replied while lifting a huge ass stone and crushed the head of the last embraced one. All right, I take back what I just said, I said while raising both hands after seeing that scene. By the way, your riding bird seems like it's not going to make it. She immediately ran toward her pet mount, calling its name Fillory. With clear worry, when she reached it, she lifted its head to her chest and gently called its name. Feeling the warm embrace and knowing its master was safe, it slowly closed its eyes. Seeing this, she could only say, "May you rest in peace, my partner, my friend." I can only stand there and wait until the drama was over. Regaining her composure, "Hello, stranger, thank you for your help. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Fredia Antonia Josephine Guthsmith. If you think that's too long, you can also call me Freya," she said. I looked at her and thought, this pure appearance, this constructing figure, as expected, there is the reason she has so many delusions. Wait, what are you looking at? Feeling embarrassed being caught staring for too long. Ah, right. I suddenly remembered an important matter, I said, scratching my cheek shyly. She was confused when I suddenly turned around, pulling my dagger and moved towards one of the embraced ones. My friend, this is all money. I extracted his fangs as proof of bounty. What is your name? Where are you from? She asked while I continued my work, standing straight and showing my well-built body. Alvin Aryan, a northerner, I replied. The blessed first son. I didn't expect you to know ancient saga. Not much. It's the predecessor of the Shuma language. I learned a little from ancient books in the Elrond Capital Library. So, who were you people? Why were they pursuing and trying to kill you? I asked, but in my thoughts, I don't know much about this part of the plot. It's necessary to gather a bit more information. You might not believe it if I say it, but I am actually the first princess of Elrond. I was subjected to an assassination attempt on my way to attend the graduation ceremony at the Royal Academy, she explained. Then, how did you end up in the northern ice fields? This is at least 100 kilometers away from the nearest border to Elrond. I further inquired, because I had to avoid the real trap. Elrond, known as the Magic Kingdom, is famous for its mainstream magic schools focusing on hex modification and even the taboo arts of necromancy. Therefore, the ruler of Elrond is also known as the Demon King. Originally, the people of Elrond were a nomadic tribe renowned for their medical skills. Driven out by conservative religious forces, they were forced into a mass migration to the northern barrens of Palladia. To survive, the Elrondians began researching various methods to defeat monsters. They evolved from medical sorcerers into professions like red mages and flesh monks, mastering hex modification. Eventually, there emerged a carrier that truly toys with bone and soul, the necromancers. They even birthed a ritual capable of remodeling the human body, the Elrond's secret rite. Since then, the Elrondians began the world's most eccentric group. No one knows what cards are hidden beneath their bizarre appearances. Unlike the privileged advanced paths of the nobility, commoners mostly receive cheap mass modifications, becoming lower-tier demons tied to fixed roles. These include farmers fused with oxen or laborers fused with the arms of gorillas. Who could have guessed this air-headed princess would one day launch a glorious revolution? She'll try to break this rigid class system, but unfortunately, in the end, I thought, what did you mean by the real trap? The assassination attempt at the Royal Academy was just a feint to force me to flee toward the capital. The enemy's main force is likely lying in wait on the road leading back to the capital from the academy. That's why I split from my subordinates and took a detour through the northern ice fields. I figured even if they had people on this route, their numbers wouldn't be large, so I thought I could handle it, she explained. I didn't expect the future Blood Queen and 43rd Demon King of Elrond to have such an innocent, girlish side. I thought after listening to her explanation, Are you still listening? Of course. Don't you want to know who sent them to assassinate you? Yes. Wait, do you know? She asked. She got confused seeing me dragging the leader of the group. How many people in Elrond have mastered the blood race modification rituals? I inquired, including the Grand Duke of Blood Dragons. There are 12 noble families in total, but while they oppose the Royal Academy admitting commoners, they wouldn't go as far as assassinating royalty, would they? You're forgetting another group of people, I said, kicking the head of the leader. Who? She asked, full of curiosity. The necromancers, of course. Don't you agree, mister? I'm doing a great job playing dead, being seen through his pretense. The leader sat up and said, Ho, I didn't expect to be discovered. Since the jig was up, he removed all pretense and started shedding his skin. Spell marks, bone manipulation, corpse proxying, and long-range spiritual projection. To think there's a grand wizard of the Hippocratic school within the Elrond necromancy faction. Clever, as expected of Her Highness, Princess Antonia. Since the mage sanctuary of the City of 1,000 Towers opened its doors, you were the first genius to become valedictorian as an academic mage. If this operation hadn't received support from those exalted ones, allowing us to prepare a contingency, you might have actually succeeded in escaping. The dead bodies started kissing, devouring one another. To be precise, it performed a merger, becoming one skeleton general. To be honest, if it weren't for the sake of sharing our Lord's mercy with more people, I really wouldn't want to kill such a talented junior with my own hands. Antonia could only stare, bewildered at what just happened. Don't be scared, let me have a chat with him. Sorry to interrupt, but you're just a tier 4, not tier 5 yet, right? I asked. Oh, indeed. Though I am over 50, I was fortunate enough to walk the path of the flaming sword and claim the final crown. However, Compared to the noble perfected ones, there is indeed still a gap. Why? Do you think you can defeat me? Not really, I was just asking. Both Antonia and the leader got confused. When I walked over to her and put my hands on her hips, placing her on my shoulder, I told the leader that I have a skill called Fleet of Foot. Activating the skill, I madly dashed away. The leader dropped his jaw and couldn't do anything since he had not yet calibrated the skeleton general. Picking up his jaw, he dashed backward to the skeleton general. Upon contact, he merged with it. It became more robust and added more flesh. It cursed and started chasing the barbarian while releasing green projectiles. Antonia looked up, seeing the projectiles about to reach them, but I dashed forward and completely avoided the explosions. Who on earth are you? How do you know so much about necromancy? I taunted it by responding, me, just a passing barbarian. Full of rage, it leapt into the air and shouted, then take your secrets to the grave, die. It started gathering energy from its body, slowly opening its mouth, ready to unleash its ultimate skill. Seeing this, Antonia started to worry that they might not be able to escape the finger of death. Tapping her butt to get her attention and inform her not to move, feeling my hand on her butt, she was flustered and protested, don't touch me in an inappropriate place. While running, I suddenly turned around and saw the skeleton general charging its skill in mid-air. I started counting in seconds, waiting for the 4th second to arrive, since that was the peak of the skill. At the 4th second, I pulled a lightweight folding crossbow from my inventory and aimed it at the skeleton general. I fired the arrow while continuing to run backward. The arrow hit its mark, striking the right eye. Due to this, the skill was interrupted and caused a huge explosion due to the backlash. The skeleton general slammed into the ground, putting Antonia down. Seeing that it's almost incapacitated, she was bewildered by what had just happened. Nice hit, kid. I'll remember you, it said while struggling to get up. Meanwhile, in Elrond capital, Evanmore, Demon King's quarters, beautiful spring palace, Antonia's younger brother is rushing to its father's room. Father, royal sister's whereabouts are currently unknown. I request to lead the Silver Knights of the Imperial Guard to go search and rescue her. No. Until you take over the throne of the Demon King, the Imperial Guard cannot leave Evanmore, and you yourself especially cannot. What? Isn't sister the one supposed to inherit the Demon King's throne? Evanmore cannot fall into chaos. I could collapse at any moment, and there is no news from your sister. Elrond needs a successor who could take over the throne at any time. I understand, father. He stood up and turned to leave with an unreadable expression. The Demon King could only look at the painting on the wall and sigh. Fredia, my most beloved daughter, where on earth are you? Back at the northern border, the skeleton general decided to self-destruct, causing a huge explosion that shook the area. They're just gone like that? I thought they'd at least drop an "I'll be back." Then, out of nowhere, Antonia asked in close proximity, who exactly are you? I gave the same answer I gave when the skeleton general asked me. Me? Just a barbarian. Liar. Real barbarians hate that insulting term. They call themselves Northmen. Also, how would a barbarian know so much about magic, especially the most obscure necromancy? Stop. I can't tell you the specific reason. Just pretend, Mimir whispered in my ear. All right, although I don't like liars, I'll let you off the hook. As the eldest princess, I express my deepest gratitude for your assistance twice in a row, she said while showing proper etiquette. The Goothsmith family will definitely repay you. While looking at her, I was surprised and noticed something. I pointed at her direction and blurted the word white. Feeling that she was exposed, she covered her legs. Fully misunderstood, I found behind her. I was talking about the white tide coming our way. She got confused when I picked her up without any warning. Not wanting to get swept by the white tide, I madly dashed to the opposite direction. Finally reaching the cabin house, we started cooking our meal. Gathering around the fire is the best way to shake off the lingering cold and pair it with a warm bowl of soup. If I hadn't intervened, how are you planning to deal with those 3 vampires? Take a look at this. A gem scroll? Wait, using this thing against vampires, wouldn't it tear them to pieces in the first round? You know quite a bit. Then can you tell me why the necromancer launched this assassination?